Hi, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys had a nice long weekend and a much needed break. Today, we're going to jump right into chapter 6. Okay, so automated external defibrillation. Um, Make sure you guys let me know if you guys have any questions. You do have quiz 3 coming up that is due, and then quiz 4 should be opening up this week as well. I will send you all an update on that and when things are due. I did go on Blackboard. It seems as though most everybody has taken quiz 1 and 2. So that's great. Remember, you guys have 3 chances to take these quizzes. So even if you're getting a 16 out of a 20 the first time, take the time to take the quiz again. All right. It's good, easy points for you guys, and it's a good way to review before we have our exam, which will be coming up in 2 weeks. All right, so make sure you guys look all that stuff over. Take the time to take those exams. It's all open book, open note, so you guys should be okay. All right, this lecture is not going to be the longest, but let's jump right in today and get chapter 6 down. All right, so we are looking at automated external defibrillation today. All right, so if we go down, so let's remember, so an AED is an electronic device that analyzes heart rhythm, and if necessary, it delivers an electrical shock known as a defibrillation. Remember, we talked about CPR alone cannot restart the heart. You have to remember our heart is full of electrical signals, and we need an electric shock in order to actually be able to restart the heart. So CPR is what is helping us until we have EMS arrive or an AED arrive. And remember, AED is the only way that you can actually restart the heart. Okay. A person's chance of survival dramatically improves with an AED. Okay, so for every minute of that defibrillation is delayed, the chances of survival goes down 7 to 10%. So think about it that way. Okay, you may be performing CPR, but every minute that goes by that we do not have an AED, a person's chance of survival goes down 7 to 10%. That's a lot. So this is why nowadays there are AEDs everywhere at schools, in public. You can even have at-home AEDs as well that have been approved. Okay, next slide. Okay, so obviously public access defibrillation, AEDs must be used the first few minutes to be effective. Okay, so we can't be doing this 10, 15 minutes after this has happened. Okay, so, and like I just said, AEDs are available in many public places. Next time you guys walk into CCSJ, look around and see if you can see where the AEDs are located. They're located within the building, and they're also located in the athletic department building. Okay, just a little bit of background as to how the heart works. Remember, I know you guys have all taken anatomy, physiology, those things. Remember, we have it's an organ with 4 chambers. Okay, so we have the left and the right atriums. Both atriums are above, ventricles are below. Okay, it also has a unique electrical system. Okay, that's what causes our heart to beat. So remember that SA node is the pacemaker of the heart and causing it to beat. Okay, it contracts approximately every second. If you guys take your pulse and you can feel that, that is your heart beating every single second. Okay, so as we can see here, we have the left side of the heart, we have the right side of the heart. Okay, remember, from here it goes into the lungs, it's deoxygenated blood from the lungs, it comes back out into the heart, and then it pumps out from that left ventricle to the rest of the body, supplying oxygen and nutrients that are needed for living tissue to survive. Okay, a couple abnormal electrical signals within the heart. So the first is ventricular fibrillation. It's called VFib. Okay, so this is the most common abnormal heart rhythm in cases of sudden cardiac arrest in adults. This is where the electrical impulses are kind of lost and going all over the place. Okay, so if you look at the electrical signals down here, they're all over the place. They're very sporadic. When this happens, they're kind of vibrating like this, all right? And then obviously the heart is not able to pump out blood, okay? The other is ventricular tachycardia, which is VTach. Okay, this is when the heart just beats way too fast for the blood to pump. You can see it's uniform, obviously, but it's beating so quickly that we're not allowed, the chambers are not allowed to get blood within them, and then they can't beat the blood out as well, okay? So we have VFib, okay, which is that irregular heartbeat. And then we have VTach, which is the heart beating too quickly, okay? When someone does go into cardiac arrest, we've been talking about this throughout this entire class already, time is crucial, okay? This is one of those things where EMS is called right away, and CPR must be started right away. And hopefully there is an AED that is present that can be used. Okay, whoops, went back the wrong way. Okay, so about AEDs, we kind of talked about that already, but it's an electrical device, okay? So it analyzes the heart rhythm, okay? Once you place the pads on, the AED will actually analyze your heart's electrical rhythm, okay? It delivers an electrical shock if necessary. Remember, we need that shock to get the heart to beat properly again, okay? And it also corrects any abnormal electrical disturbances, okay? So there are a couple ways that hold on, let me go ahead really quickly. All right, so obviously the AED is going to attach to a person's chest, okay? It's got a built-in rhythm analysis system and it records the person's heart rhythm, shock data, and other information, okay? So not only does it actually sit there and record the rhythm of your heart, it's going to analyze how many shocks it's given, and it's also going to have different data like the date and time. So it is all stored within that machine. Okay, if you can see, the pads are right here on the person. We'll go and see this a little bit more. Okay, so common elements of an AED. Okay, there's an on-off mechanism, obviously. Okay, once you turn it on, the AED will start talking to you and prompt what you need to do exactly. Okay, there's a cable that comes out of the machine. All right, and then there are also pads, as you can see right here, which is what you're going, also known as electrodes, that you're going to stick onto the person's chest, okay? It has analysis capability, like we just talked, defibrillation capability, meaning it's going to send out that shock, and it also prompts you as to what you should do, and it's battery operated for portability, okay? So you don't have to actually plug this into an electrical outlet, obviously, so you can take it wherever you need to go. Okay, so if we're talking about using the AED, this is the most important part. You guys have heard me talk about how anyone can really use an AED because it prompts you to the directions that you actually need to do once you turn it on. Okay, so what you're going to do once you get there, you're going to power on the AED. There's an on button that you need to press. Sometimes just by opening the AED, it turns on. You will be able to tell once you open it whether it turns on, or you need to press the on button, which will be clearly stated on the AED. Once you open it, goes on, the AED will have its initial checks, and then it will prompt you as to what the next step should be, okay? Step 2, you're going to need to expose the person's chest, okay? So if they have a t-shirt on, you're going to need to take the t-shirt off in order to apply the pads. Okay, if there is, say, a man that has too much chest hair, you're going to need to shave off that chest hair. Each AED should have a razor within it, so you are able to do that, okay? You also need to make sure that the area of the chest is dry, okay? We don't want it to be wet, okay? Remember, water disrupts the electrical signals, okay? So there should also be a towel so you can dry off the area around the chest and you can stick the pads on properly, okay? Once you, oh, sorry, I went a little too fast. Okay, so as you can see these pads, it will direct you exactly where you need to take them off. You're going to take off the pads and it's going to be sticky on one side, and that's the part that you are going to put directly onto the chest. Okay, so one pad is placed right of the breastbone, just below the collarbone, okay, on the right side, and the second is placed on the left side of the chest, left of the nipple and above the rib margin, okay? It should show you directly, if you guys can see here. So this one goes right on the right side and this one goes right on the left side. So see, it'll tell you exactly where you need to place it so you don't goof it up. All right. Once you place the electrodes on the person on their chest, okay, the AED will instruct you what to do next. It's going to tell you to stand clear. Okay, you or a bystander should not be touching the individual, okay, at all. All right, the AED will actually say stand clear, okay, make sure no one is touching, and the AED will advise you to either press a button to shock the person, or the AED will prompt that it will do it itself, okay? So you need to make sure that you listen to what the AED is saying. Again, it'll give you those prompts, so it's not something that you can easily goof up. Okay, once it goes through that, you will then begin to perform CPR again and follow the device prompts that the AED is giving you, okay? As you can see, before we go to special considerations, sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit too quickly here, that it is not that difficult to use an AED. However, being a trained CPR and first aid individual, we should be going through all of this to make sure that we know how to do it. So if we are actually faced with an emergency, it becomes second nature and we can do it. Okay, but we need to remember, most importantly, this AED is absolutely needed, and it's needed quickly in order to save a person's life and actually restart their heart. Okay, some special considerations to think about. Obviously, if a person is in water, okay, or if they're in a puddle, something along those lines, you need to remove this person from the water. Okay, electricity, water, they do not mix. So if you remove the person from the water, okay, you take their shirt off and you dry their chest off and make sure your hands and everything are dry. That should be enough in order for the AED to work properly. Okay, children, they're also a special consideration. They're obviously much smaller. A lot of these AEDs have children and special pediatric pads. So those should be the pads that are used for children. Okay, a lot of individuals may have medication patches. Okay, so for things like nitroglycerin, nicotine, pain meds, those types of things, these, if they're on the chest, will interfere with the AED. So you need to make sure that you remove those pads before you put on the AED electrodes. Okay. There are also special consideration like implanted devices, so pacemakers, defibrillators. A lot of individuals that have abnormal heart rhythms, things of that nature, will have a pacemaker right underneath the skin. You should be able to see this on an individual, okay? And you should also be able to feel it if you feel the chest, okay? So you need to avoid placing electrode pads over the devices, and you have to allow that unit to stop before using the AED. So if someone does have a pacemaker and it's not working, it might be vibrating for a second. You need to make sure it stops vibrating before you add the AED electrodes in order for the AED to actually work properly, okay? So AED maintenance, yes, we need to make sure that we do maintenance on our AEDs. Okay, so AEDs should be inspected periodically to ensure proper working condition and to ensure that proper supplies are available. Okay, so we don't just leave them in a quarter, let dust go all over them. Okay, this is something that needs to be checked on all the time, just so we know that it is working properly in case we are actually faced with an emergency. This should be pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so the supplies that are needed within the AED, so you need 2 sets of electropads. Okay, one is going to go on the right, one is going to go on the left. Extra battery, okay, just in case that battery is not working, you always have to have a plan B. A razor in case you need to shave off chest hair, hand towel to dry off the person's chest, a breathing device if you need to begin CPR, and exam gloves, obviously, to keep yourself safe. So these are all the supplies that are going to be needed in an AED. Okay, and last slide, AEDs are made through tons of different manufacturers, okay, and related supplies are available from all these different places. So it doesn't exactly matter where you get it from, you just need to make sure that you get that AED from a reputable manufacturer, okay? As you guys can see, this is pretty self-explanatory, okay? But you need to understand why we must be using an AED and why that's important. Obviously, it's what's going to help restart the heart, okay? And it is CPR is that first initial step that is needed to help try to keep that person alive. But the longer we wait to get the AED, the less likelihood that we have of restarting the heart. So remember, every minute we don't have an AED, we're not able to supply defibrillation, 7 to 10% more likelihood of the person dying. So we have to see that it is definitely a situation where we need to get the AED. Okay, so make sure you guys are going over all of these slides. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Read over the chapter because it has special charts and everything spread out for you. And there, it's literally about 7 pages, so it's not a long chapter. So please do your best to read over it. This this quiz will open up today, so make sure you guys look over that as well. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you all later. Thanks, guys.